Hey folks, it's Kim from Daily Woodworking here, and it's been quite a while since I did a video of any length for you. Right now in western Maine, it's 6 to 10 degrees outside, and the wind chill factor is dropping it well below zero, so I'm not outside working on the bandsaw, doing that kind of projects. Not really my cup of tea to be out there working on that. I'm freezing my butt off. And equipment tends to break faster in the extreme cold. So we've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of this, I think. And then Mother Nature will probably throw it at us again because, you know, it is the end of January. So I'm inside and I'm going to do something for my wood turning. I'm going to make what I call a hybrid blank for a pizza cutter. It could be used for a pizza cutter, ice cream scoop, bottle opener, that kind of thing. But in this case, I'm playing around with it. I'm going to make a pizza cutter. I've got a show coming up just before Valentine's Day. So this will be, if it goes well, this will be something that I'll take to that show. So anyways, before I even get down here in the shop to do any of this stuff, I have already stabilized my blanks. I've got 2 here, and they're going to go like this. So I've got, I've used cactus juice, fed it through the vacuum, baked it in, and these are approximately 1.5 inches wide. The height doesn't really matter, but they're around 1 3/4. And I think it's 6 inches or 5 3/4 or something like that here in my mold. But I plan on putting Alumilite 2-part, urethane. It's terrible getting old. In here, just for something different to do. And I took some to Chicago to the show out there, and they sold immediately. So I know that there's people out there that like them. So I thought I would show my process. It's nothing major here, but something to do on a really cold-ass day in Maine. So I've taken these, gone through that process to clean them up. I use dental picks to get all of the excess bark and everything off it before I go through the cactus juice and all of that. I also use a drill with these bristles from 3M. They are stacked on there, so there's probably 8 to 12 layers of this. When I'm carving, this is something that I use to take the fuzzies off the carving, and it works really well to get into the nooks and crannies of the burl. If it's a wire wheel, it will leave a mark. This does not leave a mark. These actually come as grits, and this one is this is 80 grit. Sorry, this is 80 grit, but there's 80 grit, 120, and I don't remember what the rest of them are. And then, so I've gone off camera. I'm using can you see that? Lizard blank mold. Highly recommend these people. Easy to take apart. They come in all kinds of different sizes. HDPE, so it's easy to get the piece out. To make it even easier, I spray the inside with Stoner. So if you're from the 60s, this will make you happy. And that is a mold release, and that works really well as well. So I'm using the lizard blank, and I'm going to proceed to put these in here. So the height inside of here is 1 3/4. Across is 1.5, and the length is 6 inches. So the formula to figure out how many fluid ounces I need of Alumilite A and B is length times height times width, multiply that times 0.55, and it will give you an approximate of fluid ounces. So when I did that out, it came out to like 5.67 because I did 4 inches. Just guessing at it. I don't need the full 6 inches, so why waste the extra 2-part urethane? It is fairly expensive, so save yourself some expense. So I did 4 inches by 1.75 times 1.5, multiplied it times the 0.55, and I came out with something like 5.67 or 66 or something like that, in that range. And I'm going to mix A and B together. This is a 12-minute setup time before it has to go into the pressure pot. This does have to, I won't say it has to. The way that I do it, it goes into a pressure pot. That's how I learned it. I actually like it, and I'll show you all of that. So I'm going to mix this together. It's got a 12-minute cure time. I'm going to add some pearl to it, just to give something in it. What I'm looking for is, after I'm done turning it and have gone through the whole wet sanding process and all of that, when somebody picks it up, I want them to be able to see some of the burl, the natural edge that's on the inside. I don't have to do that. I could put a dye into it. Say if I wanted it to be blue, I could put a blue dye into the Alumilite and have a blue handle. You can do anything you want. So I'm just playing around and doing this. So I've got a scale here. I'm going to turn the scale on. So I've got a scale right now. It's reading 00. And I'm going to put wax paper on top of there. You don't have to do that, but I don't want to mess up my scale with anything that slurps over the side or goes over the side. I've got a 9-ounce clear-sided cup, and that's important because as I'm mixing it together, you may not be able to see it on the camera, but as I'm mixing it together, I'll be able to see the A and B mixture, and what I want to have is it looking like almost like water, but I'll be able to see where the B goes into the A, and until I've mixed it all together, then it's not going to be ready to set. So put those two things on there. I'm going to hit tar. I don't know how you say it. I'm back to 00 now, so the only thing that I'm measuring is the actual liquid that I'm going in there, and I'm doing it by ounces. You could do it by grams if you want to. So I'm going to go with 3. I'm putting A in first. That's 3 ounces. Now I'm going to put the B in. So I've got 12 minutes before it has to go into the pressure pot, which is down here. Ideally, you start your timer right when you pour it in. I actually start it once I've reached, I'm going to add 3 ounces of this, so I'm going to have 6 on here. Or you could hit tare again and pour in 3, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go to 6. When I start mixing it, I'm going to turn on my timer. You do what makes you feel comfortable. And again, this is Alumilite Slow Clear. I believe you can get, I know you can get fast, it gives you 7 minutes. I believe you can also get white. There we go. Sneak up on it, it's best. So I'm using a plastic popsicle stick. I don't know if you can see that or not. You see all those lines that are in there? We want all of that to disappear. And the way to do that is to mix it all together. It's a tedious process, but it's something that has to be done. Right now it's like a milky, or not consistency. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a color. Doesn't matter what you get in it for bubbles. The air pressure that's in the pressure pot is going to take care of that for us. Make sure you keep scraping down your sides. You want to get it all in there, get it all mixed up. I don't add the dyes or any pearl or flake or anything like that until after I have it completely mixed, which, by the way, I forgot to turn on the timer, so we will go with 10 minutes instead of 12. So I don't know, can you see that? Now you can see that it's pretty clear. It's got all kinds of bubbles in it, but again, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter. The air pressure doesn't actually make the bubbles go away, if I understand this process correctly. And I'm sure if I don't, there'll be somebody out there telling me how wrong I am. But if I understand this correctly, the bubbles don't actually go away. They become microscopic, so you can't see them. And I've done enough hybrid, I think people also call them mutt blanks, to know you can't feel it either. All right. So we got 8 minutes left. I don't want to get really carried away with the pearl, but I want some in there. So I'm using a wooden popsicle stick. It doesn't really matter. I could have used another plastic one. And now I'm going back to mixing it, but I'm mixing in the pearl. And like I said, if I wanted to hide all of that, if I didn't have a lot of Maple Burl edges on there, then, you know, more of a regular thing. And this is probably too much pearl because I can't really see through it. I haven't made these in quite a while, so every one of these is an experiment. If you were going to do it and try to do the same thing over and over and over again, so let's say I was making a pizza cutter, an ice cream scoop, a bottle opener, coffee scoop, there's vegetable peelers, there's rasp or zesters. If I was trying to replicate that, I would be measuring how much pearl I was putting in so that I could do it for each batch, or I would be mixing a much bigger batch, and instead of using a lizard blank that only takes one blank, I would be using, I've got one over there that takes 4. So we're pretty well mixed together. So we're going to pour it in. These are pieces of wood are pretty tight to the sides, so they're not going to float up. So that's a bonus. This is a rack where I could have multiple levels. So I could have one here, so I could set it down in there and I could do multiple molds at the same time. And I don't have to do it for this one. I could just literally set it into my pressure pot. So right now we've got about 6 minutes left. One of the things that I like about this is as the air comes down onto the top of this, it has to be dispersed. If I just set this into the pressure pot and then turn the air on, it actually could come in and blow the Alumilite out. So I like to err on the side of caution most times. So we're going to set that down into the pressure pot. All right, so I've got my pressure pot down here. I'm going to put this in, set it down in there. When these things come to you, these pressure pots come to you, they have these giant wing nuts on the top. And they're not always you may have a problem tightening it up. So I took the giant wing nuts off and put down regular nuts so that I could use a impact. If you've ever done tires on cars, you know that you don't go around it, you go across. And if I've done this correctly, when I put air pressure to it, it will not leak out. We're going to know right away. Sorry about the air compressor, but that is one of the things that happens. I do not have any air leaks. I've still got a little over a minute before I had to have it all mixed and in there. So I'll let this set for probably, I don't know, 2 hours. And then take it out. I'll leave it overnight, demold it tomorrow. And then I'll show you what I've got. And maybe turn it. And I should say, if you like what we're doing, whether it's the work outside with the bandsaw, chainsaw, we've got maple syrup coming up shortly that I hope I'll be able to show you the entire process of what we're doing. You like what we're doing inside here, whether it's with a laser, a CNC, wood turning, making cutting boards, whatever we're doing, please consider giving me a thumbs up. That would be great. And please consider subscribing. All right, so I decided not to wait until the next day. Decided to come back downstairs and open this up, look at the blank. I will say before I do that, I looked at the previous video that I shot, and when I'm sitting in the chair and talking to you at the very beginning of it, you may have noticed my dog over my right shoulder. She's in a 5x5 crate down here. She's the only dog we've ever had that I can't trust to just be in the shop and not pick things up. Her nickname is Hoover because she is like a vacuum cleaner. If it's on the floor, it's going in her mouth. And so for her own safety, we have her in a crate down here. She doesn't like to be left upstairs while I'm down here. She goes almost everywhere with me. So That's her spot, but you may have seen her while I was talking. She was behind me yawning and then laying down and promptly going to sleep, so apparently I was boring her. Hopefully that's not the case for you. So I've got my tank. I've shut off the air going into it. I will say that you're going to want a set of earmuffs on before you release the air, because it's going to be loud, probably to the point of actually hurting your ears. So wear a pair of earmuffs. That's my advice. We went to 58 pounds of air pressure, and we're going to 0. And that's what happens with the mold release. The mold release makes it so it comes out pretty slick. You're not fighting with it. So, make it my... So I'm not going to be able to see everything that's inside of this once it's turned, but I'm happy with that one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark an X across the points. I'll end up drilling it, tapping it with a 3/8, I think it's 3/8 by 16 tap, and then put it onto a mandrel on my lathe and turning it, and it will probably be this end that will be tapped because it's a bigger end than the other end. Just leads itself to a better shape for the pizza cutter that this is going to be. So I'm going to conclude the video at this point. I'm going to say that I'll put this up as a video showing you what this part of it, and then I will make another video showing how I turn this into a handle, because this is going to be long enough as it is. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.